Hey, Paddy G, mate. I just thought I'd get in on the fun and get into my heritage jersey. And look, I'm really sorry to say, no disrespect to any of those players, mate, but I'm going to be wiping my backside, and the other Cowboys are going to be wiping their backsides with that jersey come the end of Saturday night, mate.
Yeah, Sam, your club's been around for not that long. One premiership. Is it multiple in the Spoons? I guess you just don't know what history is. You can't appreciate history in a great club. One of the NRL's big six, potentially. That's all I'll say. I mean, look, one very overrated grand final win. You could argue your best immortal ever is really a Bulldog deep down. Michael Morgan made that man an immortal. Look, 2017 grand final. Cowboys. Look, if I was a Cowboys fan, rough.
Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome back to the Wobble Enjoy Sports channel. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continued support. We're up to round 20, man, of the 2023 NRL season. And one of the more crucial contests coming into this weekend sees the Manly Sea Eagles versus North Queensland Cowboys. And to help me preview the contest is Paddy G, bro. It is such a pleasure to actually have you on once again, man. It's been too long. Always love dribbling about footy with you, Matt.
Mate, you are one of the true goats, one of the best people on this, doing this. I'm great to be back. First time since the preliminary final preview, I think. And I tipped Cowboys in this game, so hopefully this is sweet, sweet revenge. Biggest game of the year, round 20 already. Finals on the line. We'll just say it's on the line to add more spice to this game.
For sure. I couldn't agree with you more, man. And to everybody that may be unfamiliar with Paddy G, see the name in the title, see his name in the title. Just if that's a hyperlink, click it and go check him out, subscribe to him. And the other links to his other social medias will be splattered in the description box below at the conclusion of this live stream, man. Paddy G, man, let's talk about Manly in 2023. Up and down like a freaking roller coaster, bro. What have you made about Manly's season so far?
There's definitely been some good parts. The season started really great. I think even when we lost the 1 point to South Sydney in the John Sattler game, I was very positive. I predicted us to come fifth. And while we've had a lot of injuries, and obviously now we're without him again, I don't even know how to say his name. Just saying again probably describes who it is. It's pretty disappointing. At the end of the day, looking to the future, the fact we went undefeated with our spine this year is a bit of a blessing, I guess. But I would say this season's disappointing. Maybe I'm just biased, but I did predict us to come fifth. So to be sitting, I think, 10th, and realistically, I think a lot of the top 8 teams still have a bye to go. So we're a fair few wins behind now, and we've got a difficult draw coming up, which starts, as much as I'm going to bag the Cowboys in this preview on Saturday, it's going to be a tough draw, and that starts this Saturday against your mighty Cowboys.
Thank you for calling them mighty, mate. But Manly Sea Eagles, man, yeah, I'd say there's been 2 detours on your road to the finals if you guys do make the finals this season. And it was that John Sattler loss and Golden Point extra time that I looked to. And then it's the downfall of that man as well, bro. And there was that game against the Canberra Raiders, and then I think it was the Dolphins almost immediately back to back, or maybe like there was 2 games in between. But Manly just scored 40 and 58 points. And then at the start of the season, you guys were scoring 30 or maybe even 24 on average as well, man. So it's been a really tough season for Manly, man. Who do you think has been, because I want to talk about him. I reckon I know your answer. Who's been your best so far?
Look, it's no secret, I don't think. He's probably one of the best players in the world at the moment. Our little halfback, the 34-year-old, he's still kicking around. Most men, when they're 34, can't even get out of bed in the morning. And he's arguably the best player in the competition since Origin started. But yeah, for sure. I mean, that Knights game, like, you take the start of the season out, and I think our record's like pretty bad. And we're one of the teams now, we've had all of their buys. You take those 3 buys away. We are 10th is probably a bit of more positive to how our season's gone, to be honest. It's it's been disappointing. What was good against Roosters though, and I will brag about that win, especially that I see Hainsey in the chat. But we finally had a close game. For the whole season, it's been since that South game, we've either been pumped by 13 plus or we won by 13 plus. So it was good to just, have a game where we defended to win the match. So it's bright spots. The Raiders win, the Dolphins win when we had our best players in, and then I'm not going to blame the injuries, but like the Penrith 48-12, that is one of the worst Manly performances I've seen for a long time.
I think Reece Walsh doesn't come into calculations for Dally M anymore because of his suspension. So you probably put Payne Haas and Sean Johnson in top 2. But Daly Cherry Evans, bro, he's going to go pretty close if he continues on his on this vein of form, isn't he?
Yeah, he always, like last year, we had that Pride jersey run, so we lost the last 7 games of the season. He was still 6th somehow, like with Tom, because he's always going to probably get him or Jake. One of them's going to get our 3 points if we win. I think that's the big thing is, can we win enough games? Because like the Roosters game, without Cherry Evans, we probably lose 13 plus. Those 2, one of them was a Ruben Garrett kick. That intercept, I can't think of many players besides Cherry who pulls that off. And that one is the game in the end. So he'll go close if we can win enough games. Yeah. But that's the question. I think Hines would be my smoky at the moment, just because Cronulla are still a good footy side. And they've won the past 2 weeks, 13 plus. And of course, he's going to get 3 points when they do that. But I must say, if Cherry doesn't win it, I want Payne Haas to win it because the front row is more love.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. And another bloke that, you guys have missed a lot, bro, is Mr. Jake Trbojevic. He made a massive difference when you guys defeated the Sydney Roosters last weekend, man. So Jake Trbojevic, without spoiling anything already for this weekend's game, I think he is going to back up just because he has been waiting in the wings for so long, or based off of an injury sort of thing. But yeah, man, Manly, you guys under Anthony Seibold, you guys have rolled a pretty tough roll of the dice in 2023. And just before we get into our preview, Anthony Seibold, what have you made of him so far, mate? He came in with a hell of a cloud above him. Do you think that's dissipated a bit, or what do you reckon about Anthony Seibold?
Look, I'll be the first to admit, I wanted Desi there. And since Tony Mestrov, the new CEO, has come in, we've made, obviously, that everyone knows about what's going on with Latu Fano at the moment. Premiership winning coaches and young superstar halves are at a premium in rugby league. And we've decided to get rid of both in the past 12 months. As for Seibold, look, he hasn't done a poor enough job considering some circumstances. And I'm not going to sack a coach in his first. You've got to give him at least 18 months. In saying that, though, the thing with Seibold is he's done nothing really in his coaching career so far to be like, oh, this is why you can be positive. This is how good I am. If that makes sense, he doesn't have a prerequisite. If we had if Shane Flanagan was the man and we were going like this, I'd be like, okay, look, he won a premiership. He got Sharks from spoon to top. But yeah, not the best start for poor Tony Sees, but I'll back him. He's made some good. I think Paseka's improved under him tremendously. He's averaging 150 running meters. Outside of him, Cherry Evans is playing great footy. And I think that's how you look at a coach, is how many players are playing their career best footy when they come in. Not to talk up your Cowboys before I demolish them in a few minutes, but Toddy Payton, Scotty Drinkwater, Val Holmes, you could argue Townsend did, and he's made all these guys within his first 2 years Origin players. People forget Townsend was in the Origin squad above Moses, and if you've watched any of my Freddie Baggin videos, you'll know that. But back before I talk Origin, Seibold, he gets a pass mark, but he hasn't given me confidence at all.
Yeah, true, man. And it's only, yeah, you guys have to be so patient. I know that Manly is a premium club. You guys have won a lot of comps in your history and you have a high standard, man. But I do think Manly just has to be a little bit more patient than usual, I guess. I guess if
Mm.
that's fair to say. Just before we go on any further, thank you to everybody that is trickling in, has trickled in to say good day. TJC, William, Viking, Jason, Hainsey, Fanatics, CT Dingo, Jacko here. Here as well, man. Thank you everybody for just choosing to come in and say good day to us, man. It really does mean a lot. And again, if you're just tuning in, click Paddy G's name in the title and it'll take you straight to his YouTube. And then there'll be other links to his other social media platforms at the end of this video. Let's not waste any more time, man, because I'm so excited to talk about this game. It is critical stations, man. It is red alert this Saturday from 5:30 p.m. Manly versus North Queensland from Four Pines Park. On tab, Manly are $2.25 outsiders. That is serious value on Manly if you want to get behind Manly or if you are a Manly fan. And the Cowboys are $1.65 favourites coming into the game. Paddy G, can you please take us through your team's lineup this weekend?
Well, at stock standard, I don't think there's too many changes. We've obviously got the best fullback at the club, Ruben Garrick, there in the number 1 jersey. On the wings, the freakishly fast man, Jason Saab and Christian Tuipulotu. The centers, Brad Parker and Tolu Kula, coming off a re-signing. Thank God Rugby Union didn't get him. Joshy Schuster, he's in the number 6 next to the best player of all time. Question mark. Daly Cherry Evans, the front row, Paseka, Sipley, Croker is the number 9. In the back row, New South Wales Blues future number 11, Hamole Olakawatu and Kelma Tuolagi. Jakey Turbo, hopefully he backs up. He's been named in 13. And on the bench, Dean Madison expected to make a debut. Ryan Madison's younger brother, Aaron Woods, Ethan Bullymore, Josh Alloway, Sean Kepi will be 18th man. And the reserves are Morgan Harper, Raymond Veiga, Jacob Arthur, and Ozzy Gordo, who I cannot wait to see debut.
One of these days, man. And shifting into the North Queensland Cowboys, Scott Drinkwater is the fullback, Valame and Taulagi, the wingers, Holmes and Hiku, the centers, Dearden and Townsend, the halves, McLean, Robson, Hess are the front rowers, Leilua, Nene, and Cotter, the back row, and the interchange is Granville, Neem, Taumalolo in 16, and Kulikefu Fenefuiaki in 17, and Kyle Felt is 18th man with Jermaine Tonoa Brown in with jersey number 19. Paddy G, man, I want to start off with one of your second rowers, mate. Homali Olokawatu, he was in the frame for a New South Wales jersey and probably should have gotten one of those jerseys, a 15, 16, 17 jersey for game number 1. And since, in my opinion, since game 1 has come and gone, I think Olakawatu's form, it's still on the accelerator, but I think it's just come off of it a little bit. I don't think, besides the game against the Dolphins, I'd say, I don't think he's been as damaging as what he was at the first portion of the season. Is that unfair or fair?
Look, I'm saying this in a Manly jersey, so the bias is obviously going to be there. I think in those X factor moments, I think he isn't doing what he did at the start of the year. Start of the year, we were like, oh, he's a lock for Origin.
I had him in my team.
I think everyone had him in their team. I had him starting in my side, let alone coming off the bench. But I think it's also due to Manly's form as well. In that period, he's played 2 games, one of them outside Cooper Johns, one of them outside Jacob Arthur. Defensively, he's still great, but then again, he's had 2 really bad moments, which were like when Origin selection was the chatter on Royce Hunt, and I think he did it. He went for like a 1-on-1 steal, went for a lazy play against the Eels, and they scored a try. I don't know whether it's because he chose Tonga over being in the Blues squad for game 2 last year or what's going on. I can't believe his name hasn't even been mentioned. I think there's no doubt him and Keon are going to be part of the Blues setup for years to come. So I don't know why he couldn't get a run in game 3. That's just me being a fan of him. But yeah, his form isn't what it was to start the year. And I think even last year in the middle of the year, he was just insane. And when obviously the jersey happened, he sort of fell off a little bit too. So hopefully next year, because obviously he's not playing Origin this year, hopefully next year he can just sustain and keep his form the whole way through the year, because the fact he's not in an Origin jersey sort of pisses me off.
Yeah,
as a Blues fan,
I think that's fair. Yeah, for sure. And this weekend, he's going to be lining up on Luciano Leilua, who has coincided. I know he got smacked by his old club 66-18. I hate bringing up that scoreline so much. But his first game back this year was against his old club in that game. But since then, even in that game, he just did some things that we were missing in 2023, and it's Olakawatu versus Leilua this weekend. And I think Leilua has made a difference to the Cowboys season. He's just offered just another dimension to us in attack, and let alone that, he's just been hitting the line so well for us, and all on that same edge as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, mate. So we've got Talatau Kola on that one edge, and who was the other winger on that edge next to Kola?
It'll be Cooler right center and Saab right wing.
Jason Saab. And so they will be taking on potentially Valentine Holmes and Murray Taulagi. Now, I'm touching on these Origin stars now, with those two anyway. DCE and Jake Tvojevic, and if there's another one I'm forgetting, I apologize. But your Origin stars, do you think they'll back up for you this weekend?
They both usually do. Cherry did after game 2, and I think he will this game, especially because we're not in the position where we can rest him. We can only afford to really, I think we've lost 9 or 10 games. I think you're going to need 13 wins to make the 8, considering how close this comp is, and 13 wins didn't get you in the 8 last year. So I think considering the circumstances, they'll play both. If we're going to rest one, I think it'll be Jake before we rest Cherry, just because he's a forward. I expect he's going to play big minutes in game 3, and he's coming off an injury. But if I had to put the house on it, I think they'll both play.
Yeah, look, why would you pass up the opportunity to wear one of those gorgeous-looking 1950s heritage jerseys to just quietly
pop out in those things?
Oh, for sure. No. Look, for the stuff that I said at the start, man, they are mint-looking jerseys, bro, for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's sort of we're in the same situation with you too. Like, it's 9th versus 10th. Cowboys equal 8th, even though they're in 9th. Manly 1 point behind. It's such a crucial game this weekend, man. So I don't think we can afford to rest Valentine Holmes and Murray Taulagi. But I reckon, besides maybe Robson and Cotter, I reckon those 4 would be pretty close to being rested. If this was a game against, with much respect, against a Bulldogs or a Dragons, for example, I think Holmes and Taulagi would be rested, even though we would still be sitting in 9th position. But at 4 Pines Park, it's a massive decision. But I think they will end up playing, and I touch wood for Manly, and I touch wood for the Cowboys Origin stars that no injuries come about for them tomorrow night. So that side is all spoken for. Let's go over to the other edge now, and Semi Valame and Peta Hiku. Absolutely zero. Absolutely no one thought that Semi Valame would be the breakout star for the North Queensland Cowboys at the start of the year, and he's made such a difference at the expense of Kyle Felt. A Cowboys question to you, Paddy. What's your reaction been to Kyle Felt's dropping over the past month?
I think when it happened, I sort of, Kyle Felt is a Cowboys legend. That try, arguably biggest try in grand final history, question mark. So, it's tough to see him. Look, I would have personally dropped him. I expected him to be back on the side by now, but you can't drop Semi Valame. That game against the Melbourne Storm was absolutely insane. He became a cult hero in the span of 2 hours during that game. And let's look, Let's hope he does have a shocker on Saturday. If he does, then I could see Kyle Felt coming in. But even if he just does like a job, doesn't have to score a try, just gets to his meters and doesn't have any errors, which I think Felt has always struggled to, keep his error count low. I can't see, unless they rest like Taulagi, how Felt does get in this side of a Valame, because, he was at the Raiders and he was their first choice center over some of their young guys. So he obviously made an impact off the field there. So he's obviously got some talent. And a Fijian winger is always going to look good in your rugby league side. And he has come in and been an absolute hero. Probably does help him that he's on the wing of a team that has now just firing. And Kyle Felt, unfortunately, was on the Cowboys at the start of the year when they were sort of struggling. But, yeah, I can't see how Felt gets back in unless there's injury mention.
Don't know as well, mate. I don't know. I think Valame, while he had an awful miss or two in his first couple of games, I think you can forgive him for something like that. But Semi Valame is coming up against not an underrated player, because he's still a young fella that needs to prove a little bit, in my opinion. But Christian Tuipulotu is his opposing winger this weekend. And who is the other centre for you guys on that left edge?
It'll be Bradley Parker.
Mr. Parker. Wasn't he freaking good against the Sydney Roosters too, just quietly, man?
He made Joey Manu look like Valentine Holmes against Stafford Top.
Thank you for reminding me. That was a really great return match from Brad Parker as well. But also up along that edge as well, and I'll get this team list up here as well. So Kelma Tuolangi versus Jeremiah Nene, bro. Jeremiah Nene, oh boy. Really played only maybe the one or two good games before getting selected to play for Origin. And since being in Origin, Jeremiah Nene has gone to the level that he was playing at last year, man. He's been sensational. And Tuolangi made a difference, I thought, for you guys last week. Maybe the second half, maybe a little bit less so, but I think Tuolangi was a welcome addition for you guys. So on that left or on the other edge, we're going to have Semi Valame, Peti Hiku, and Jeremiah Nene versus Tuolangi. We've got Brad Parker and Christian Tuipulotu. What do you make of that matchup, man?
I think the big name that stands out of the entire six is Nanai. One of the best rookie year. Did he get rookie of the year last year? I think he did.
I think he did, yes.
In a pretty stacked rookie class, if I believe. And yeah, look, Billy Slater knows more than many. He proved it. I was like, how is Kafusi not getting into this side over Nanai? Kafusi's been a freak and only got suspended. Nanai, post coming back from that hit drop against Cronulla when he got the suspension, has, been last year's Nanai. He's come back, and like Leilua, he's coincided with the rise. Billy picked him, and he was so good in Origin too. And I think out of the names there, he stands out definitely. It's going to be a big job for Tuolagi, and Josh Schuster is defending inside Tuolagi too. So I think we could be seeing Josh Schuster having to make a few dozen tackles on Nanai this weekend, I think. Yeah, and look, if you told me Brad Parker and Joey Manu were going to have one of the best centre battles of the year, I would have think that you were pretty silly. But Joey Manu, 8 missed tackles. Brad Parker, 7 missed tackles. One of the great centre duels of all time. Had a hand. I'm like, what the heck, bro? Bro, Brad Parker played for New Zealand. He'd be their fullback. Just saying. The wingers would be fun. Tuipulotu is sort of like our go-to meterage guy coming out of our own end. And we'll talk about weaknesses soon. That's something I want to get to. But he does a job. I think our back three, not so much Garrick, but Tuipulotu and Saab. Saab especially has to limit their error count because, like I said, I need Nano running at Schuster as little times as possible in this game.
Yeah. Conversely, though, I will admit, let's get into Josh Schuster playing on that left edge for Manly versus Chad Townsend defending on that right edge for North Queensland. It's no secret that North Queensland's right edge defensively is one of the worst still in the competition, as the North Queensland Cowboys are still on top of the ladder for missed tackles in the NRL. They're the most missed tackling team in the National Rugby League. And Josh Schuster, man, there was just that try to Ben Trebojevic last weekend. I have the fear that Jeremiah Nene and Chad Townsend in Sydney, hostile environment, Schuster's just going to work some magic for Tuolangi or whoever's going to be filling in that void there. And there's going to be holes galore as well. And Peter Hiku, while he has improved with Valame by his side, it still remains that right edge defensively for the Cowboys is our Achilles heel. And Josh Schuster, man, he was probably my number one player this season that I had the magnifying glass under. And it's hard to be too critical of the bloke considering the injuries that he's copped. I think he's missed a total of 5 weeks or so. And then he's played with DCE, he's played with Cooper Johns and then Jacob Arthur sort of thing. He hasn't had a settled he's only really had a settled fortnight or so, man. But Josh Schuster, man, he's demanding a lot of money for a guy that hasn't produced. But again, it's still kind of unfair to say that considering the inconsistent team and team that he's been surrounded with. What have you made of Josh Schuster in 2023?
I've been a big, I guess you would say, protector of Schuster. I don't know whether it's because he's like a Parramatta junior or he's on a lot of money, but I used to train with the bloke, so I've got a bigger bias than being just a Manly fan too.
Yo.
For a guy, like, he's a big boy and he's always going to be a big boy. And unfortunately, I think that's probably the main decision we've ended up putting him into the back row. I wouldn't have done it personally. I wouldn't have gone in Hot Brooks. I think I've seen enough from Schuster to go, yeah, he's our guy. And to ask GC to start again, I think it's a bit unfair. But Schuster as himself, I mean, one of the best, the way he squares up defenders, he passes off his left foot somehow. So even though he's not running the ball as much, he's drawing in defenders as good as anyone in the competition. That's what hopefully can create some room for the guys outside of him, especially with Jake back at 13. I think Jake did that really well, and we really missed him playing that link man role.
Yeah.
Because Jakey, when he takes the hit up, he's not Tamalolo, obviously, but he's a good quick play the ball. So you can see him quick play the ball, or he's spinning into Schuster. And if Schuster can create space down your right edge, and I think we can definitely have success. He's shown glimpses of why he's getting paid this money. Hasn't done it consistently, but to your point, guys, he's had a rough stretch of injuries this year, and they're all leg injuries too. Like, it's not like he's tweaked his shoulder and he can still go running on the field with the boys and stuff. And Jacob Arthur, Cooper Johnson, I think in the games where he's played with Cherry, he's done very well. But look, I think it's been a successful year for Schuster, if I'm being totally honest. He's shown a lot. Maybe giving him a 4-year, 3-year contract worth 2.5 to be a back rower probably wasn't the right call, but he's definitely shown why he was the generational talent that was the captain of the Blues and the captain of Manly and the captain of all our grades growing up. And yeah, I'm excited to see how he goes playing the rest of the year at 6, especially with no Tom. I think this is his opportunity to stand up. I give him a 6 out of 10 so far this year, but like you said, it's hard to judge him. It's really hard to judge him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely think it is, man. And let's move into another battle. And last season, let's talk about last season's matchup: Manly versus Cowboys at 4 Pines Park last year. I'm sorry, look, I gotta remind you, but that was one of the games of the year last year. It was an incredible game of footy, man. Even if Cowboys had have lost, if DCE didn't drop that ball in a couple minutes, it was still one of the games of the year last season, man. And I really hope we get something very, very similar anyway. But if Lachlan Croker has another 10, 15-minute spell like he did last year against us, we're in all sorts of shit, man. Lachlan Croker, your GOAT, pretty much, if you don't mind me saying so anyway. Lachlan Croker, man, another consistent year for Lachlan Croker, bro. And last year, he nearly beat us all on his own with a 40-20 and 2 tries in the space of 10 minutes, man. It was unreal, bro. And then Jeremiah Nene said, well, I will hold your beer and then I'll throw it over me freaking shoulder. Lachlan Croker, bro, what have you made of his season so far?
Look, to say he was better than Cameron Smith in that 10 to 15 minute period is more than justified. He looks better than 2005 Joey in that 10 to 15 minutes. But yes, last year, painful memories. Jad Townsend had to throw the clip of him celebrating in his vlog to start every vlog. So I've had to unsubscribe metaphorically, aka just skip the intro to his vlog because it's a painful reminder. But look, hopefully Seabold doesn't do a Des and sub Jake off with 10 to go. Look, I'm not blaming one just coaching decision. Look, you could argue that's why Des got sacked because he took Jake off with 10 to go, and that's why we lost. I'm not saying that, Sam. I'm not. But we keep Jake on the field. That ain't happening again. But yeah, look, I get it. There's not much, I guess, for Fox League and Channel 9, but there's enough for us. So can we get 2 Manly Cowboys games a year, please? I feel like we never play. And I just want to see us play.
It's almost been a year, pretty much a year to the day, just about as well. Reece Robson as well. Look, I think he's been Cowboys. Look, hard to say so far this year because we're only halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. But I think in 21 and 22, I thought he was our best, just about, man. Top two. Reece Robson's just an incredible player. And thank goodness we've got him locked up for the next couple of seasons as well, man. Robson's I think he is my favorite Cowboys player at the moment. He's such an honest, hardworking fella, mate. He's just so good to watch. And Warriors NRL Fanatics just in the chat said he wouldn't mind us talking about the forward pack battle. And I gotta Taniela Paseka, mate. He is from an outside looking in, Taniela Paseka for me is a frustrating watch because he is one of the scariest looking human beings on the planet. And I think maybe on 6 occasions this season, he hasn't had a bad season at all, but on 6 occasions, he's honest to goodness shown the absolute titan in him, the absolute monster inside of him. But again, for me personally, I might be wrong. Love your opinion. I don't think he's done it consistently enough for you guys this season.
No, and for anyone who watches me review Manly games, it's the first thing I talk about. With our forward packs really struggled this year. You look at the games where, like the Dolphins game, for as good as it was DCE chip kicks, Josh Schuster chip kicks, spreading it through the back line. Our forwards have really struggled this year. And I know we haven't had Jake because I think he's played 2 games since round 8 or something because he's had the back-to-back calf injuries. And without him, without his 100 meters, I know which isn't a lot for a forward, but his 100 meters, his ball playing, and his defense, on a whole, our forward pack has struggled. And maybe that's the reason why I'm probably not as critical of Paseka as you are being right now, because he's been the shining light in a forward pack that has really struggled. But you're right. Obviously, selfishly, he's as big as Nas. And we would all love him to be Nas, but I guess he's just not as aggressive, I guess. And I'd love for Seabold to get that out of him, but maybe he's just not that player. Maybe he is a guy who is basically just a good front rower who, won't play to his size, I guess. Maybe he'll just be sort of a stock standard front rower. As long as he does a job, I guess. But like you said, he's had flashes. He ran through Reed Marnie like he was nothing and flicked past it to DCE in round 1 against the Bulldogs.
Yep.
When he comes on for his second half stint, he does a lot for us. He brings on some go forward, and that's where we've really struggled too. So I get the criticism around him. I'm probably a bit more defensive of him because he has been my shining light in a forward pack that's been beaten in nearly every single game this year. But as much as I'd love him to be Nas, I just don't think he's that sort of, not just player, I just don't think he's that sort of bloke.
Yep. Taniela Paseka, maybe even more than 6 games. I don't want to rag on the bloke too much, man. There's so much potential there, man, to be at the next Nas. And
it feels like we've been waiting for him to just explode for what, 4 seasons now, and this is the first year where he's at least been starting in every game. I think it was 2021 against the Titans. He went the line break off the kickoff, tried to step Campbell and grubbed it off his left foot. He's got the potential to do it. At this point, it's going to be hard to see him becoming Nas. But yeah, look, for a bloke of his size, it would be nice to see him be a bit of a Tamalolo and run over a few people.
And Taniela Paseka, if you're watching, please just start the week after, not this weekend.
Yeah,
For the
no,
love
no.
of
Look at Tamalolo's highlights, and then when you see him go, I can do that too, and just try to run over top of him. You probably won't because it's Tamalolo, but then just do it the next play at Drake Granville.
next week. You can start it next week, mate. And look, I want to just pause for a sec on the team list and get into the breaking news today. And I love your fresh reaction, mate. I'll get the exclusive fresh reaction to Paddy G, mate.
I've been on my phone all day.
What's going on, man?
What's going on? Breaking news.
Well, look, we've got people in the chat even asking about it. Jacko Hire says, will Lodge play? And it is in reference to the train and trial deal that Matt Lodge has secured with Manly as of, I think, about 4:30 this afternoon, mate. What's your reaction to signing up Matt Lodge, bro?
Isaac Moses has another one. Can't wait to see it. Love it. Player agents in the club. Can't wait. Look, train and trial's a bit nicer than giving him a buckload of cash. He won't play. They've already put out in the statement he'll be playing New South Wales Cup this weekend.
Oh, true.
Look, if we get last year's Roosters train and trial mid-season, Matt Lodge, he will be a welcome addition for the end of this year. He actually, without giving away both of our locations, he doesn't live that far from me, old Matty Lodge. So I could go over there, tell him about the club, talking about the culture. But we've needed a front rower. Like I've just said, our forward pack's been beaten a lot this year. Unfortunately, I don't think this year he's been at his best. If we get last year's Matt Lodge, he'll be a welcome addition. But what I like about him is he's aggressive and he'll get up in your face. And maybe this is a detriment. He's not afraid to get sin binned either. So maybe that's what we need, just some aggression. Maybe he can just do it off the field too. But look, it's a signing where, this season we need to sign a Piglet, and we've got one. Is he the right one? Let's hope he is.
Keep your doors locked, Paddy.
I've said it. Look, every good NRL team worth their salt needs a criminal, and we don't have one. And now we do. YouTube, don't take us down.
Oh, dude, no, please, no. Good heavens, no. But allegedly, you're right. If Sydney Roosters 2022 Matt Lodge rolls about, or even New Zealand Warriors Matt Lodge for the first half of his stint anyway, I think that's exactly what you guys need, man.
A year ago, we were saying Matt Lodge was a lock for the Australian side.
He was going I don't think he was ever going to be selected in a rep side. Because
maybe that was Buzz Rothfield, but I'm going to claim and say that we all were saying it.
Yeah, no, but his form warranted it, though. For the people that didn't want to give it to him, his form did warrant it, man. And our forwards, Jordan McLean scored his first try of the season against West Tigers. That's the other thing too, man. Both these clubs are coming off a bye, bro. Sorry. Manly Cowboys are coming off of the bye. I'm sorry.
No, we're coming off a bye.
Coming off a bye as well. True. So they're both coming off a bye. They're both going to be really, really fresh, man, ready and roaring to go, bro. Jordan McLean, I think he's just gotten so much better every single year. And I think he's getting back to his, not saying that he's been bad or average or whatever, but I think he's getting back to his 2022 form. And Cohen Hess, I think he's been really underrated by the general public as well. I thought he set the tone from kickoff. Cohen Hess was sprinting downfield to be the first one to make the tackle on a West Tigers player a fortnight ago with serious ferocity and speed, man. I think Cohen Hess should not be a second rower ever again because he was pretty average, unfortunately, when he was playing in second row at the start of the season and in 2021. Simplify his game. They've done that. And I think Cohen Hess should be a front rower forevermore. If he has to mid-game, if there's an injury anytime, slot him in. But always start him as a front rower. I think he's been so good, Cohen Hess. So good. And your debutant this weekend, man, number 14, Dean Madison. Can you tell us anything about Dean Madison, mate?
I know that he's Ryan Madison's younger brother.
Yes.
Fun fact there we go. So he's got origin potential just by that. But no, he's bounced around a bit. He's a good ball playing back row / middle forward. We've played some games with him at 6 and 7 with like a Cooper Jones or a Latu Fino in New South Wales Cup. He's been a big part of the reason. I think we were like 0 and 4 in Cup, and then we've turned it around. I think we're currently in 6th or something with a winning record, and he's been a big part of that. I think it's a debut that I've personally wanted to see for a while.
Yep.
Like I've said a million times in the past 10 minutes, our forward pack's been one that's been well and truly beaten this year. And I think he can come on when Jakey needs a rest and probably doesn't have to ball play every 2 seconds and fill that role. I think it's been a debut that's been coming for a while. He's been really good in New South Wales Cup. Like a freak, been our best player in that. So as long as him and Schuster don't punch on about a haircut this week, then I'm sure that he'll get a great
Oh my
day.
God, that was him. Oh my God,
it was him and Schuster. It was him and Schuster over a haircut.
Oh, dude. And look, just Jake Trbojevic versus Ruben Cotter, another State of Origin game within an NRL game. That's hot as fuck, bro. Trbojevic versus Cotter.
That's two best mates from Australian camp last year about to go. Let's go. Hey babes, how you going? Oh, let's rip in. Let's just kill each other. I made 59 tackles. I made 60. Oh, but you missed one.
Fuck.
I can't wait for this. They're like, Jakey's obviously the heart and soul of Manly. Jerry's the captain, but Jakey is the heart and soul of the club, local junior, and Ruben Cotter. If he's not in anyone's like top 5 players, especially after the Origin series he's had, then you don't get basic rugby league, my friend. I can't wait for this matchup.
Yeah. They renamed Adelaide Oval Cottelaide Oval once that was all said and done, man, for sure. Look, let me just get these stats out of the way, man. And I'll just throw up because I'll just throw this up while I'm saying it. So this weekend is going to be the 35th meeting between the Sea Eagles and Cowboys, and Manly have a 20-win to 14 overall head-to-head record over the Cowboys. North Queensland got their first win versus Manly since 2018 in that last year's epic encounter between the two sides. And since 2015, 5 games have been played at 4 Points Park, and Cowboys have won 4 of the 5 encounters. So that is a really positive stat if you're a Cowboys supporter. Also, in the past, I'll bring this out again. In the past 3 games between the two clubs, there have been 6 different double try scorers in the past 3 games. And unfortunately, 5 of them have been for Manly. Only Valentine Holmes has been that one to score a double in a game against Manly, and that was last year. So maybe a double try scorer in this game is something you can put some money on, maybe, considering the form as well. And Ruben Garrick, bro, this is someone we haven't touched on yet, mate. Mr. Consistency, Mr. Fix-It. Ruben Garrick has scored 3 games in a row versus the North Queensland Cowboys, man. I reckon that's a very similar stat for almost every other club in the National Rugby League, bro. And for what I said before about Chad Townsend and being on that right edge defensively, there's so many more positives. There are positives to his game and more than negative. Because this year, I was sort of blown back by it, man. Chad Townsend is second in the comp for overall kick meters, and he's coming up against DCE. DCE, again, we said at the start that DCE is having a Dally M-esque year, and he's sitting in 6th for total kick meters as well, man. So Chad Townsend is second for total kick meters. North Queensland are better at set completions. And the kick return meters, I think, is something that you touched on a couple of minutes ago. The kick return meters for Manly is an area of concern. Manly are last in the competition for kick return meters. And you mentioned Tuapolotu is great for getting out of that area, but Ruben Garrick and Jason Saab for a second there, Tom Turbo when he was available. Manly are last in the competition for kick return meters, and the Cowboys are first for total kick meters as well. So it's simple. It's easier said than done, though. But if Cowboys complete their sets and have a really smart kicking game, a big kicking game from Chad Townsend as well, man, and And if we can box them in and keep our line speed up, if the Manly Seagulls continue on being the worst team in the competition for kick return meters, I think that's going to go a long way for the Cowboys to win this game.
Yeah, Chad Townsend, what he's done since going to the Cowboys. I know a lot of people, I don't know what your thoughts were, but a lot of Cowboys fans that I talked to on occasion really were against Chad Townsend to start the year. And I thought that he warranted more than that criticism, I think. But yeah, I think his kicking game, like we talk about Sherry Evans, Adam Reynolds, Nathan Cleary, he's up there. Like there's every chance on Saturday. I think Cherry's probably got the best all-around kicking game in the comp. There's every chance he goes just as well for Cherry this weekend. It defies all logic, the sentence I'm about to say. But if I'm the Cowboys, considering the stat you just said about our return meters, I'm kicking it into Jason Saab's corner. I'm bombing it up because he's got, despite being as tall as he is, and I love Saab. Like when he's in open space, it's a joy to watch. I'd hate for him to leave the club, but he's got so many errors in him. Unfortunately, he's such a big, lanky body. He doesn't have the go forward of your wing, like a Valamate or a Talagi does. That's a huge concern is how we start our sets. If you guys just get to your sets, kick to the corners and limit our back five, who, like you just pointed out, are the worst coming out of our own end, then we're in some big trouble. Chad Townsend's kick boot could be the difference for you guys on Saturday.
But the positives though, man, if the Cowboys can have a good defensive line and kick chase, man. But I mean, Cowboys aren't the worst, but we're second worst. They're second worst for missed tackles. They have missed 119 more missed tackles than the Manly Seagulls have in 2023. And the Seagulls are third best for not missing their tackles. So they are hitting and sticking, are the Manly Seagulls, however. And then as far as penalties go, bro, as well, discipline. North Queensland, the third most penalised team in the competition. Manly are the second least penalised side in the competition, bro. So there's not going to be many opportunities given to us if Manly, they're about halfway for completions. They are the second least penalised side in the competition as well. That includes 6 agains as well, man. And they are a better team at not missing their tackles. So there are positives. It all rounds out to be a really even and competitive matchup. And this is where I'm going to get into my tip now. And look, I'd love to talk more about the interchange bench. Jake Granville, a game away after this weekend from being in the 200 game club. Taumalolo, Kulikefifunafuiaki, and Griffin Neem, all fantastic players. But we're going to win this game this weekend, Paddy, because of a guy that has a lighter shade of hair than you, mate, and that is Tom Dearden. And I've purposefully not spoken about him all stream because he is going to be an anytime try scorer. He is going to beat DCE on a couple of occasions this weekend, including Talatau Kohler as well, bro. As Denon Kemp says, the strongest hips in the game, bro. And also Scott Drinkwater. Dude, Scott Drinkwater was signed in 2018 with the Cowboys. 2019 maybe.
End of 19 because of Pappenhausen.
No, it was end of 18. End of 18, because I remember him playing in the Central Coast game where we beat the Roosters. So it was 2018, but he debuted for Cowboys in 19. And it's taken him 2 years, maybe 3 years. But then in 2022, after he didn't play the first 5 games, hasn't looked back, mate. And Scott Drinkwater's form has just been, it's undeniable now, bro. I was one of those people that was defending Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, saying that this guy's got the X factor that Scott Drinkwater hasn't been able to show yet properly. And bro, talk about eating your own freaking humble pie, mate. Scott Drinkwater and Tom Dearden, they are the two men that I've saved till last, and I think they're going to be the two blokes that will be anytime try scorers, but it's not going to be a 13-plus points victory for the Cowboys. It is going to be a really close, awesome game, and I think it's going to be something along the lines of a 26 points to 20 scoreline. I think this is going to be a blockbuster. I think this is going to be massive. 9th versus 10th. This is one of the most important games of the season to date.
Yeah, but Sam, look, Tom Dearden, no denying, great player. Scotty Drinkwater, back up to Billy Slater. You've got an excellent point. Both guns, I love both of them. But their initials aren't the best player in the comps. And look, 1 to 17, if anyone wants to chat, wants to argue, yeah, maybe across the board you're better. But you know who was better than us across the board? The Sydney Roosters. And you know what the Sydney Roosters found out? That our old 34-year-old halfback, the best Queenslander of all time, DCE, is playing for Manly on Saturday. And as long as he's in the side, I think we're a chance. Tommy Dearden, freak. Let's see how good he's moving after he's tackled Hamole Olakau'atu 15 times, Sam. Yes. Let's see Cherry Evans just give Olakau'atu a bit of one-on-one open space with Tommy Dearden. And let's see if Tommy Dearden can get around DCE. Battle of the New South Wales fullbacks, Ruben Garrick versus Scotty Drinkwater. Can't wait to see it. Prediction time. Look, I'm not going to be a Hello Spot merchant and say Manly 13 plus. I'm going to give it to you honestly. I'm going to tip us to win. I genuinely do think that we can win. You say it's must win for you. You guys still have a bye to go, and we're behind you on the ladder, and this game's at home. So we have everything to play for in this one. I think it's one, mainly it's being at Brookie, that it makes it a winnable game. We've only lost the one game there this year, so I think we can do it. It's going to be close as. I can't see us being the Cowboys by that many. I think we get a good start, then we should be able to hang on. So I'm going to go Manly. I'm going to pick us to win. I reckon we go 20 to 18. I can't see Val missing a goal, so Ruben's goal kicking will have to be crucial. Look, 20 to 18, I'm just going to say DCE 2-point field goal because he hasn't kicked one yet. And after he lifts the shield on Wednesday, I can say it. All right, I'm a Blues fan, but I can say it because he will be lifting it no matter what. Yeah. I feel like he's going to have the confidence, and I think that we can just scrape by at home and on the home of rugby league in Australia, Sam. It's the home of rugby league in Australia out there at Brookie Oval. The pride of the peninsula will get the job done. And, yeah, enjoy your flight back to Townsville. It's going to be a long one.
No, dude. And look, man, it's been rocking all season long, Brookvale. Credit to the faithful out there, man. They've been selling that joint out pretty much every single game this season.
So much for boycott the club when Des got sacked. It's been... I think we've sold out pretty much every game.
Every game, man. It's looked tremendous, man, and it should be no different this weekend. Don't know what the weather's going to look like, but I don't think that's going to keep anyone away.
I think it's fine.
Are you going to be there?
Mate, I'll be there. Anna Rose will tag me again, 20-meter front row.
Yeah.
Murray Taulagi or Luciano Leilua are going to be right in front of me, and I'm going to give him some good, honest feedback.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. And look, on those, just quickly, just as positive to me, I think they do have the attack to worry Cowboys, especially considering the Cowboys are the second worst team for missed tackles. I really do. If DCE does put it over those chip kicks for a Jason Saab or whatever, Josh Schuster puts a blind pass out to Tuolangi, man, I do think that they have the attack to worry us. But it's going to be a sensational game. Manly, Paddy's going for Manly. I'm going for North Queensland, obviously. Manly are wearing their 1950s heritage jersey as well, so that's just going to give them a bit more pepper as well, bro. So it's going to be... Everything stops at 5:30 as far as you and I are concerned. And every other Manly and North Queensland.
The greatest 5:30 Saturday clash of all time. They're saying it's going to do bigger numbers in the grand final. That's what I'm hearing.
Dude.
That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I believe your sources, mate, for sure.
They're thinking about moving it to Olympic Park because they've already got 80,000 tickets sold and it only holds 15.
Look, man, I don't mean to rip off the Hello Sport boys, but Olympic Park is the worst stadium in Australia, just quietly, man. It's, oh, man. Anyway, we digress. Paddy G, thank you so much for your time, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Is there anything coming up or is there anything you want to plug or what's going on in the life of Paddy?
No, not really. Bit hectic out of the world of Internet Rugby League at the moment. Origin review will be Thursday morning, hopefully talking about the greatest debut of all time and Bradman Best. Leg tats, let's go. Origin, and then we will be reviewing the games and doing what we've been doing. Everyone, if you're already here, you probably have, but if you haven't, Sam, that subscribe button, it's looking pretty erotic at the moment. So everyone has to subscribe to Sam. All right. And if you don't, you're a dog. So subscribe.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man. All right, then. And to everybody that's tuned in, a dozen plus, man, all tuning in. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. Have a very nice weekend. Go Cowboys. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Adios.